Hey everyone, I'm Jack, and I lived in the UK for 8 months while studying. And in this video, I want to teach you everything you need to know about traveling to London for your first time. First of all, when it comes to where to stay, if you're in your early 20s and if you're traveling by yourself or with friends, I definitely would say the cheapest way to stay in London is to stay in a hostel. This is a place that you're going to be sharing a room with other random people, so this might not be for everyone, but if you're looking for the best deal, I stayed in the One Fam Waterloo hostel in London and it was super cheap. I think I only paid $25 or $30 per night, so it's really cheap, especially if you book it in advance. So if you're just going to London to have fun and you're staying with some friends and you want to save money, it's definitely one of the best ways to do it. However, if you're a bit older, you don't want to stay around that crowd, or if you're going with in a couple or something of that matter, then I would say definitely look into some boutique hotels in London. They end up being a lot cheaper and a bit smaller than other hotels, but for what you're getting, they end up being really nice and about a fraction of the price of what you'd be paying for any of the higher end hotels. So looking into boutique hotels online, whether it be booking.com or something like that, you'll find a lot of money saved in that manner. When it comes to getting around London, it's super easy. Although it's really big, you could walk around in a lot of areas. If you say want to get across the entire city though, that's when you're going to want to use the great public transit. You could either use the tube, which is their subway, their underground train system, or you could also use the buses. The nice thing about London is everything is contactless. You don't have to have any specific payment card. They do have the Oyster card, but you don't need that. That's mostly for people who are staying in London for their longer extended stays. But if you're just traveling a week or two, then I would say just use your regular card, make sure it doesn't have any foreign transaction fees, and you could just tap it as you're getting on to any of the buses or in all of the train stations as well, or in all of the tube stations as well, which makes it super easy to get around and you don't even have to think about it. You can just tap it right on the reader and you're all set to go. Do keep in mind you do have to tap out on the way out as well, because that's how it tracks how far you traveled, and they charge you based on how far you traveled. So it's not just one flat rate, and if you don't tap out, I'm not sure exactly what they charge you. I think maybe somewhere in the middle or the maximum rate. So I would definitely recommend just on your way out, make sure to tap on the way out as well. You do have to do that for any train station that you're leaving anyway, so it's pretty hard to forget, but just keep it in mind. One word of advice though, the last tube rides are around 11:30 p.m. So definitely keep this in mind if you're going to do something out late at night. They do have night buses running, and you could also use apps like Uber to take a ride to get back, but that's going to take a bit longer and also might be a bit more expensive. So keep in mind if you're going out late, just kind of think about where you might be going and the ways you could get back, since the tube does close a bit earlier than other places I've been. When it comes to things to do in London, one of my first and favorite recommendations is to go to Borough Market. It's a really beautiful open market that has a lot of different vendors selling foods and different things you could buy. There's so much delicious food to eat there and it's really great, so it's one of the first things I recommend. There's of course also the basic stuff like seeing Big Ben and Westminster Abbey and everything like that, which I still definitely recommend. Just know that those areas are going to be a bit more expensive since a lot of tourists are going there, so I would avoid eating in those areas, as I've seen stuff like fish and chips be £17 in that area, which is way too expensive for fish and chips. So definitely go see those things, but just keep in mind probably eat somewhere else than that specific area, because that's where you're going to find a majority of the tourists. St. Paul's Cathedral is another recommendation I have for you just because of how beautiful it is. Seeing it from the outside is absolutely magnificent, so definitely something to check out. When it comes from seeing the city from afar or from high up, two recommendations I have are either the Shard or Primrose Hill. The Shard's a really cool experience because they have bars and restaurants up at the top of the building, and you can see almost all of London and it just looks so beautiful. The only thing about that is it is quite expensive, especially for a lot of the restaurants. If you do want to just go to a bar and get something to say like a drink, it's going to be still quite expensive, but it might be worth it just to have a spot in there and to see the beautiful views of the city. When it comes to Primrose Hill, this place is completely free. It's just a park that's like a little bit on the edges of the city, and it's really beautiful because you could see the entire skyline of London from there. A lot of my friends and I would go, and you could just bring either some stuff for a picnic or something to drink, and you could just sit out there on the hill and view the sunset or whatever you want to do from there, and it's very beautiful. It's a great place to go. A few other notable mentions that I want to point out are Chinatown in London, Camden, Notting Hill, and Regent Street. These are all some different places where you could do some shopping or just view the beautiful scenes around there, so definitely those are things to check out as well. While you're in London, it could also be good to see some of the surrounding cities if you have the time for it. And some of those that I recommend are Dover if you want to see the White Cliffs. You could go to Bath, they have like a Roman bath there. It's really cool, has a lot of old architecture. Or also Brighton, which is like the beach area. So all of those you could be reached by train. And I would say for booking those train tickets, you could use the app called Trainline. It's super easy to book what fare you want to do, when you want to go. And if you're going to be staying for a little bit longer, you could also purchase the rail card. This gives you a discount on all of your train fares. However, if you're not going to be using the train that often, it's definitely not worth it. It saves you around 30%, but you do have to also pay for the rail pass itself. So make sure you keep an account of how often you'll actually be using the train. When it comes to food, the UK normally gets a bad reputation. This is because a lot of them don't season the food for you and they leave the condiments on the table for you to season yourself. So it's definitely a cultural thing to keep in mind when you're ordering food. Most of it's not going to come seasoned and you're going to have to put stuff on it, especially if it's British cuisine. I, however, really love Sunday roast, and if you're in London for a Sunday, I recommend finding a pub where you could try that out because it's a really great dish. It's like different meats roasted in gravy, and there's normally a bunch of sides. It could be very delicious. London also has a very large population of people from outside of the UK, so you could find really great food from other countries such as India or Spanish food. Everything in London, since it's one of the biggest cultural melting pots in the world. Also, there's two chains that you could check out called Wetherspoons and Green Kings. Both of these have apps and you'll be able to get different discounts or see what's on their menu or order from your phone, which is something very popular in London these days. A lot of the restaurants just have you scan a QR code and you just pay for it all from your phone, so you never even get a check or anything. It's very different if you're used to restaurants in the US, but it's quite a nice system, and using those apps makes it a lot easier than using the website sometimes. Finally, London has also some crazy weather. Sometimes it's raining or it's cloudy and then switch to sunny and then back to raining, so just make sure to pack the right stuff, such as stuff for the rain, and bring an umbrella probably, because at some points you could be walking through the city, it's a beautiful sunny day, and then it just starts raining. So just be prepared that it could change very quickly and you want to have the right stuff on you in case any of that happens. London is one of the most beautiful cities I've ever been to, and I can't recommend it enough. I hope this video helped you to plan your next trip to London, and if it did, leave a comment and definitely get subscribed if you want to learn more about different travel tips and tricks. And also, if you want to learn more directly from me, you could join my free WhatsApp community that's linked down in the description. I'm going to be making a lot more videos about this, whether it be different countries to visit, how to visit them, or even just general tips and tricks about travel. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.